Every week I do it, every single week, but I love this song so much. Welcome everybody to another episode of Not Your Typical Girl Talk. Happy Saturday to everyone, and as usual, we will introduce ourselves in alphabetical order.
Hey everybody, what I want? Honestly, I need to bring that up next week.
Truly, get a horn up in here.
Yeah, we need some sirens up in here. So this is Garcia. I'm so happy to be a part of the Not Your Typical Girl Talk crew, and I'm here with my sisters. One from the same Mr., one from another.
Yes. It's all love and all family here. Hey everyone, this is Kelly. I am also a proud member of the Not Your Typical Girl Talk crew. As usual, we always got some spice to talk about, and like my tea is ready. Oh, we're gonna sit. Hey, we're gonna sit.
And I am the final member of Not Your Typical Girl Talk. I am Toshiba, the one who's always trying to sing when my ladies are the singer. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who are listening on Radio Regent, thank you for listening. You can follow us on all of our social medias, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Not Your Typical Girl Talk. If you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can DM us there, or you can email us at notyourtypicalgirltalk@gmail.com. So happy Saturday, ladies. How was your week?
It was good. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, my week was good. You know, it's one of these things where, and I don't know, maybe it was Amanda Gordon girl getting me all up. You know, my deep feelings and everything. Yes. I'm sure we'll mention her later on in the show today. But I'm really feeling like optimistic because I know at the end of the day, it's all on me. And as long as I believe in me, it can happen. I don't know why I feel really strongly about that this week.
I agree with you. Yeah, the week was, it could very well be to the inauguration and just watching history in the making and just being, you know, seeing that Black women are being amplified and knowing that, wow, there's someone that looks like me that has been through my struggles and look where they are now. And then it's like times a billion because you have Kamala and then you see Michelle Obama and the way how she just came out and all that greatness.
Girl, listen.
Girl, in her superpower outfit, she was out there looking like she had her white privilege cape on. Like she had on her best superpower because that's the superpower I want.
So much grace, so much style, so much everything. She was all the positiveness in the world. She stole the show. She did. Michelle Obama came in and with her man, and they just slayed left, right, and center. They made my
head to toe. Like they started interviewing her hairstylist.
Her bod was just like, take that.
Lady Gaga came in with this big ass
gown,
and she was like, I screwed up. She saw Michelle, and she was like, Why did I bother?
I remember I was telling you, Lady Gaga reminded me of The Handmaid's Tale. She had this red thing on. Chick, where are you bringing this into this for? Take your Handmaid's Tale out of here. It's not welcome here.
Bird of Justice.
Yeah, and the Bird of Justice. That bird was so big, and she flew her out while she was singing the American anthem. You can always count on that
girl to make you go.
Things will go,
Yeah. She did the most. And listen, I'm extra. I know I'm extra. This is Toshiba, and for everybody who doesn't know our voices, I am extra. But girl, I saw that girl coming out. Was like, is that a bird?
Yeah, it was a big bird. It was a lot, girl.
It was a big bird.
It was a lot. I mean, you can be extra, like how J-Lo totally blinged out in all white. Right? She looks great. But she did it with her accessories and stuff. It's like, let me wear the diamonds that I got because I'm still Jenny from the block.
Hey!
You know, like if you're gonna go extra, there are ways to go extra. And Gaga was like on a different.
She was on A Handmaid's Tale. That's what she. I'm sorry, y'all, but I said, and to all our viewers, I'm not taking it back. At me.
Right? Exactly. At me. Like I said, this week for me was interesting because of course we had the inauguration.
Yes.
And it was a lot. And I cried, and it was a moment. And then Auntie Lynn Whitfield liked my comment on her story. I was like, girl, my whole life, I was like, Auntie Lynn!
Fabulous. Love that.
Congrats,
Lynn.
No, that, you know.
Yes.
And so that was my day, because I had the inauguration in the morning, and then she liked my comment later in the day. I was like, I'm having my whole life.
It was a different celebration,
A
girl.
true day of
Especially
celebration.
for you. With
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
It was definitely a week, you know, and as we're digesting it, because of course our topic today is about the new incoming president and vice president, and we're basically saying to Biden, you got one job, don't F this up.
One job.
basically, and you know,
One job.
when it was funny. I was thinking today about leadership, and you know, and I think that a lot of people, sometimes we don't sit down and think hard enough about leadership and what it truly means, you know, because a lot of people think if you do something that I don't like, that means you're a bad leader. And it's like, no, that's not what the leader is not here to impress you. That is actually not their job. Their job is to do what is best in the interest for you or anyone else that is within that country or city. Like, that is the job. They are going to deliver good news and they're going to deliver bad news.
That's it.
Now, I know that we're not used to it because, let's be honest, the president that left, he didn't like to deliver bad news. He wanted to keep everything in this fantasy world where everything is fine because, don't worry, I'm a multi-billionaire businessman. Everything is fine. And, you know, now we're dealing with a president who so far seems to be saying, look, things are actually in a bad state right now. COVID is raging. This new variant is raging. Y'all aren't wearing masks, so this is what's happening. There was no plan. We have issues with getting enough vaccines. Like, and to be honest, being a leader is about, you have to give that information. And Emily was saying it, but it is better for us to know all the bad news as well as the good, because at the end of the day, we can't say, oh, well, they didn't inform us. We didn't know.
That's it. Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. You know, when people say, you know, do you want the good news first or the bad news? Most people say, you know what, give me the bad news first. Let's just lay it out all on the table. Tell me what the bad thing is, so that way when you tell me the good news, it's like, okay, there's hope. But what I did like that Biden said is, yo, especially when it comes to the coronavirus, he said, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And just like anyone that's had to face a health issue or any kind of traumatic thing in their life, I don't know, when a doctor comes in to tell you the ultimate, you know, horrible news that you don't want to hear, you're, at the end of the day, you're glad you heard it. Instead of having someone say, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. It will go away. You know, just take your vitamins and drink your water. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be just fine. Don't lie to people. Tell people the honest truth. It's not going to go away. This is not, you know, a piece of fluff on a shirt that you can just flick off with your finger and it goes off into the distance. And it's a big mess that he's inherited, him and Kamala.
Definitely.
They've inherited, one, to me, the biggest mess in any country, from what I see anyway.
Well, literally in the history of American history,
they've inherited
a
horrible
pandemic
mess.
And a major recession.
Yeah, and the social injustice and racism is on a rise.
And distrust.
That's it. It's a
That's
huge
it.
People are divided and don't trust one another.
That's it.
It's the word. That is the word I'm gonna run with probably for the rest of the show, is distrust. Because you know what was interesting to me? It wasn't even so much the inauguration and everything around that. It was this idea from some of the QAnon members that they truly believed in their heart of heart that Biden was not going to be inaugurated because President Trump, former President Trump, was going to have martial law. And apparently the QAnon message board went crazy when they saw Biden put his hand up and was sworn as the 46th president. It was interesting to see some of the interviews after of people who were like, I had this belief. I truly believe the election was stolen. I truly believe that Trump would be my president again. up until that moment before Biden put his hand on that Bible, they truly believed it. And to me, that was sad. That he had, you know, as much as we can say these people are stupid, and the part of it is you're just stupid, it is the fact that this man, for whatever reason, had this mass appeal to people who wanted to believe in him, because I think they have such a distrust for the system.
Right.
And Donald Trump to them did not represent this system. Donald Trump was this rogue guy who came in, who happened to win president, that I think people who have a distrust for the system are going like, he's going to make that difference because he's not one of them. And they wanted to feel like, as someone who is not one of them, you know, if we think back to, because we've asked this question before, why the Trump effect? Now that's the reason. Because he wasn't one of them. And when you're not one of them, regardless of the fact that, honestly, he's so unrelatable as a person, like when you think about him, but he was so relatable in that way. He's so relatable to the people who have such a distrust for the system because he wasn't one of them. And that's why he got so many people to come out, because for them, the system wasn't working for them anyway. So here comes this guy who's going to come in and blow this whole system up, and he's going to show us what we've already known, that this system is corrupt. And they believed it till the last
man put his hand on that Bible.
And you know what amazes me is that people don't seem to understand that Donald Trump is actually a part of the system, like a huge part. I mean,
they ignored that part.
Yeah, they ignored his entire career for the past like 40 years. But anyways, you know, when I think of that group, I also think of the leaders of these groups, QAnon and, you know, any other domestic, you know, white nationalist, whatever kind of groups. The leaders of these groups were really rallying their people to have that belief. And now that it's all over, from what I've been seeing online.
Oh yeah, girl, I've got some stuff for you about that.
The leaders have come out and said, well, you know, Joe Biden's the president now, so, you know, just remember all the good times that we shared together, and everybody just go bring their light their life and just work with the new president.
He said, if I remember correctly, he said, you know, respects the president and respect the Constitution. So, is this thing on? Okay, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Okay. After you rally up all your people to go and break all these federal laws, now that you see that there is no martial law and your orange man has gone on the Air Force One and blew off, he's not going to pardon them. They're either in jail or they're dead. Now you want to come on and say, you know, everyone, it's been fun. It's been real. We've had a great time together. Remember that time when we stormed up the stairs and we shot that guy? Yeah, good times, y'all. Hey, remember when you held the Confederate flag? Yeah, that was good, eh? Yeah, man. High five. You know what I'm saying?
But look, those times are done now.
Done. We've had our good moments. Hasta la vista. That's what they're doing now. And it's just like, so wait, we're just going to pretend that day never happened?
We're acting like it didn't even happen.
Like the last 4 years. And it was more than the 4 years, because it was like a year leading up to Donald Trump being president. So it was basically 5 years of madness, and now it's high five, let's go home, and we're good now.
Chicken dinner.
Let's literally go home and go back to giving the kids their meals and going back to working from home and hanging out.
Changing your bumper sticker to Biden Harris.
Yeah, and you know, hanging out with your black girlfriends and saying, hey girl, I'm so happy for that Kamala girl. I'm so
after you just stormed the Capitol.
This is real life, everybody. We are not. Okay. I mean, this reality show was real.
It was too real. It was too real. It was real.
You know what? And I have to tell you, I tried after the inauguration and the last 4 or 5 years. I think as of like Wednesday, I tried to stay off of the news channels. I was trying to do other things. I was just like, this is a lot. I come in and out, but it's like, it is so much to consume. It is and it almost was like a sense of relief. Okay, I think things are going to go back to normal. It's like you can stop watching now because the train wreck isn't coming. Like when former president was in office, you almost waited every day. Like, what's going to happen? The train wreck is coming. Like, and you needed to be prepared to know what you needed to do. Like, where's my exit signs?
Exactly. You knew something was going to happen.
And,
it's also interesting, too, because Joe Biden, President Biden, he spoke yesterday, I think, in relation to what's going to happen with COVID and with the employment that's happening right now in the States. But our dad was watching, and I was passing by, and he was like, Telly, it was so weird. I can't really believe that I'm hearing someone with so much intelligence speak. I'm not used to this. Because for the past 4 to 5 years, all you've been hearing is
stupidness.
Someone saying, this is great, it's all about me, COVID. That's all you've been hearing.
Oh,
it's going to go away. Look at me. No. So it's very weird now and foreign for people to hear a man and a woman speak with so much grace and so much poise, even like paying respect to the 400,000 and counting people that have passed away already.
That the former president never said, I'm sorry this happened.
He said nothing.
Let's mourn with our brothers and sisters. There was never a word of unity that came from this man, not even performative. And to this very day, I don't really understand. Like, I know that you're rich and overtly privileged. I know. But man, even rich, privileged people say, I'm sorry.
Well, it's very sad when you have people like Beyonce and Kim Kardashian saying, well, I'm really sorry for your loss. It's like, yes, be sorry, but that should be, or you're the commander-in-chief. Shouldn't it be you that tells the world, I am so sorry that this is happening. We're doing everything we can to make sure that this doesn't happen to another family.
Listen, they went in and there was no COVID plan. Vaccines are expiring.
Girl.
Let's think about that. You've spent millions of dollars to get something and it's just sitting there expiring because you don't have a plan of how to get it. The vaccine that you toted and said, oh my God, this is going to be, I can do this. And now the people who are supposed to get it can't get it because there's no plan.
And that you paid for medication that is now losing its life. And it also affects, see, the thing is, it's the reason why we care, just for anyone listening that's like, why do these three bitches care? I'm sorry.
Right? I got people.
But the reason why we care is because, listen, the faster everybody gets over this COVID business is the faster we can all see each other again.
That's it.
Not being able to go stateside, not being able to go to Europe, not being able to go see your mom, not being able to go see your husband in some situations, like whatever your situation is, we're not going to get over this hump until this vaccine starts getting placed in bodies. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's going to get it. Again, many people have different opinions as to vaccines and getting vaccines, but if it gets in enough arms, right, it's better than where we are now, which is high numbers, thousands of people either getting the disease or dying every day. And we just paid, and I say we because remember, it's your money. Wherever you live, you're paying taxes. We paid millions of dollars for a vaccine that is now sitting in a freezer somewhere, and no one is going to get a chance to be vaccinated.
Right.
So what was the point?
Complete waste.
And I can think of a lot of things that we could all do with like $200 million, everybody.
Right?
Okay.
Do you have time? Because I was hoping I won Lotto Max this morning, and I woke up and I did. It said no winner. Okay. I was already spending that $60 million. So like,
girl,
$5 at a lotto pool for so many years, and
one day,
me ready.
Okay. So 200 million, you could only imagine, right? And so it is crazy, but the hope for Joe
Right.
Biden is he can go in there and actually execute a plan. And in some ways, America has gotten boring because we're no longer in a reality show.
Right.
So there's no that the 20 even I think that the news people are going to eventually miss Trump because the news cycle is going to be so normalized. It's going to be like, what can we dig up? Because Trump isn't there just to drop something and people are like, oh, so it, you know, you're going back to a boring state of affairs, but boring is what you need because the state of affairs, that is the reality, is that people are sitting at home, people are dying, people don't have jobs, people don't have foods. That needs to be fixed.
Yes. And
that is the real state of affairs.
And I think that's where our attention needs to be right now. We don't need to be looking at a president and wondering if his hair is a wig. We don't need to be looking at a president and wondering why he's vile. Like, we don't have time for that.
No time for that.
No. We don't have time for a narcissist leader. We need someone that is dry and boring, like dry toast on a Sunday morning.
That's politics.
And that is politics. That's what it always has been.
And that's how it should be.
That's how it really should be. If you want to be entertained, man,
go watch a reality show.
Yeah, go put on Spotify, dance to some music, go watch Housewives of something. Like, that's where you're gonna go get your entertainment.
Go watch 90 Days Fiance.
Yeah.
Show's
take 90 days.
Funny.
Yeah, go to the proper devices that are meant for that. The White House is not meant for that. And no government building should be. I mean, how would we all be going on if this was Justin Trudeau going crazy every day?
Wow,
like,
Jesus.
we wouldn't be about it. So,
speaking of Justin Trudeau, though, since we gonna talk about everything today, we gonna mash it up. Listen, can we talk about his wife for a second? Can we talk? Did you guys read that article where she tried to redeem herself from what happened this summer?
Really?
Girl, you have to read first of all.
What?
So for our audience, Sophie Trudeau is Justin Trudeau's wife. And Sophie Trudeau was a host of a show on ET, right? Entertainment television. She got into a Twitter, Instagram, whatever beef with Sasha Exeter, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, who's a Black influencer in Toronto. Now,
not Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
Ben
Mulroney. Yes, Ben Mulroney. Yes, sorry. Ben Mulroney. What is her name again?
Former Prime
Ben
Minister.
Mulroney. He's the son of the former Prime Minister.
What's her name again?
Jessica Mulroney.
Jessica. Sorry, everybody. It's Jessica Mulroney.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So Jessica Mulroney, again, Ben Mulroney was our former prime minister, and his son is married to her.
Yes.
So she got into Twitter, Instagram beef, whatever, where this Black influencer accused her of basically stopping her bag. And so when the whole Black Lives Matter and Black squares were happening and people were calling it out, anyways, there was some beef between them and so forth and so on. And so, you know, we canceled her, cancel culture. She was canceled. So the article now comes out. I didn't even read the whole thing. Let's just say it was white privilege on full display. Like, I'm just gonna call it what it was. It was a white journalist interviewing a white woman about them being canceled because of cancel culture, but didn't show no receipts. There was no receipts. If you're gonna say that, you know what, I did not do this, give me some receipts. I want to see screenshots. And listen, that was the thing with Trump. Let's even bring that back.
Yeah.
Trump, you always had a receipt for Trump because Trump was tweeting, and he would be like,
he always had a trail.
Yeah.
Always had a trail of something to refer back to, saying, oh no, Mr. President, or now former,
and
you said this on this date at this time.
And he's making it very easy for everybody to build their case against him because of his Twitter.
Yeah. And now, as for
thanking Twitter for stopping him,
he should actually. He should. And the dry thing is, I mean, Sasha had her receipts, man. She hid nothing. Sasha showed every single DM that Jessica Mulroney pretty much stalked her, saying, "I'm gonna ruin you." She basically she said, "Bitch, I'm gonna fuck up your life." That's what she did to Sasha. That's what she did. And tried to do.
Yeah, I want to be fully transparent here. We've known Sasha for years.
Yeah, she seems fine to me.
You know, one of the first influencers we met when we started blogging. And, you know, as Black women in the kind of influencer industry, you get to know each other because you all know the struggle. You're like, yeah, struggle girl. We know
black,
that struggle is real. You got that coin? Amen.
Amen. Clap that.
Exactly. And the idea, first of all, that, Jessica felt, I don't know where it came from, because Sasha didn't say anything horrible to her. She just basically said, well, what else are you doing to be an ally for the Black community? Because, everything you do is sort of very, it's very
PR-ish.
Yeah. Yes, it is very white. And this immediately went 100 on her and started messaging her
because Sasha touched the nerve.
Madness. And I was like, okay, so right now your racism is showing.
And she's stalking the girls. Like, Chip, why is constantly DMing her saying, I'm going to do this to you. You're never going to work in this town again.
Most people that are not racist would have been like, I understand where you're coming from, but here are the things that I want to learn more about as a white woman to better myself, to be a better ally to my Black friends like you. Here's a list. That is what a rational white person would write. But no, she went to 100, totally, and it was, honestly, I was like, did she forget she's a public persona?
She was like a raging bull.
Did she forget who she is?
And because of that, they canceled a show she was supposed to start, something like that, some kind of wedding
show. She lost a lot of deals from that.
She went on Psycho.
And
the fact that she's still around, still trying to justify her actions.
She's trying to redeem herself by having another white woman write something about her. And basically try to, I couldn't even get through the whole article because I couldn't stomach this, because again, it was like your white privilege is showing.
Yeah,
and if you want to redeem yourself, then most people, how they redeem themselves is they're very transparent, right? Yes, you didn't get my side. And also, girl, it's now 2021, girl. I have been 2020.
We're done.
Over. It's 2020. You gotta redeem yourself the day after.
Right. I'm shocked that there was an article to come out of it now, because most people don't even remember who shit. Like,
who it was, girl. Sorry, Sophie Trudeau. My bad. Like, I thought it was you. That's how much I forgot about it.
Right. It's long gone. It's like
it's
past.
Been done.
So it's funny that there was an article about it, but it's funny because I've been reading Hood Feminism right now, which, if you all have a library card
or Libby,
or you got an app or something, you should download and read it. And especially white women, white women that are listening to our show, you should read it. It's great education for you to understand why feminism in itself is not what we need right now. And it needs to actually open up and become more inclusive, because right now it's not.
It's not.
And you all know it. But so you should read it. But when I think of, the whole, Donald Trump situation and how he got into power, we all know that like 53% of the vote that brought him in was from white women.
White women.
Right. After the man was accused of
grabbing
women's parts, talking about how he can do it because he's privileged enough to do it and no one can do anything about it. And he likes to force up himself on women and kiss them even though they don't want to be kissed.
That's him.
He said that about these women, and then these women went ahead and said, actually, that's cool. Let's put him in as president now. And then they proceeded to march when he was elected as president in the Me Too movement. And, it made me think a lot about, what we all really want in a leader and what we're looking for. And obviously there was a disconnect there. I don't know what it was, but be real. Don't be walking around with all these titles and labels saying, well, I'm this and I'm that and I stand for this and I stand for that, when you don't. Because it just looks really stupid when the stats come out, y'all, because we live in, again, 2021. We all know what you preferred. We all know what you wanted.
Mhm.
There are people out there today that aren't excited about
At all.
Kamala.
Oh,
They're not
At all.
excited to
Mhm.
know that the vice president is a female
Mhm.
and that a Black female, you know, a woman of, you know, a woman that is coming from so much, I call it soul, but, you know, Indian, Jamaican. She went to high school in Montreal, Canada. Like, she's flavored.
Mhm.
She's been around. She's coming with a lot of different perspectives that a white male born and raised in America who went to whatever university and was in the alpha whatever sorority, you know, like hazing and all of this stuff. She doesn't come from that. She's
No.
coming from a different place. And what we all have to look at now is change and why we process change in the way that we do, and why is it so bad?
That's the part that is very interesting. Why you said that word change, because as we know already, people hate change.
Mm-hmm.
People hate knowing that, you know, let's say, you know, you've memorized a script and then the director comes and says, oh, you know what, there's been a change, and it's like, hell nah. I stayed up all day and all night memorizing this, and now you want to flip the script on me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the cool thing too with change. You grow so much from it. Like we always say amongst each other, nothing can happen in your comfort zone. You got to get uncomfortable and get ahead, you know, get out there, get uncomfortable. Nothing happens being in the comfort zone. But unfortunately, as humans, we like being in our little comfy spot with our comforter and our bonnets, and we sit there.
Yeah, and things need to look familiar,
yeah,
right?
We don't like change.
We need to see a Black woman as Nene Leakes. We need to see
exactly. That's
a Black woman, you know, as, I don't know, Patti LaBelle or something. Like, we can't see a Black woman as a CEO.
Right.
We can't see a Black woman as a woman who is making her own moves, who is independent, who is creating her own opportunities, bringing in her own money, creating her own things. It's still very hard for people to process that. And go ahead.
No, I'm saying because it doesn't fit their social construct, right? And I think that's what was interesting about the time with President Trump, and even now, right, with COVID and everything that we're going through, people have created their own social construct. And in my social construct, this is what this looks like, right? Like, whiteness looks like this, power looks like this. And whiteness and power, what do you mean a Black woman? Oh, and she's ethnic. What do you, her father's from where? Like, that little place, and her mother's from where? And it doesn't fit their social construct. It doesn't make sense to them. And we live in a world where people want things to make sense.
Yeah.
Right? It's Black or it's white. It's good or it's bad.
That's
right?
it.
And it's always, you're the sinner or the saint, right? You can't be, I was thinking about that this morning because, you know, I'm creating my website, and somebody asked me 2 words to describe myself, and it's the words on my website. It was like, I'm perfectly imperfect. Right. And there were like 2 other words. And I'm like, no, that's what I get. Because I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, people want to say, again, are you good or bad? I'm like, why can't you be good and bad? Why can't you be the sinner and the saint? Why can't you be and instead of or?
Yeah,
that's it.
And you know what?
That's
it's interesting. And this is why, because even for a lot of people, they don't understand how Joe Biden has gone in and decided, gonna have a Latino in this, gonna have a Black person in this, they're very confused that a white man is doing this, because white men usually don't do that.
That's true.
And, and this is a bit of maybe, now we're delving a bit into business, because I do want to say that there was a time when, I would sit with business coaches and they'd be like, you have to be clear as to who you are. It has to be black and white. Like, there's no room for gray. People need to know exactly.
As I roll my eyes.
You can't do everything. You can only do this one thing. Right. And I said, I'm actually going to prove you wrong. I totally disagree with you.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I disagree with you. I think people can be multifaceted. I believe people can have many parts to themselves.
Yep.
I am a sister. I'm an aunt. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. Right. I work in this. I work in that. I work in this, and blah, blah, blah. There are many parts to me, right? And I think that we are really cutting ourselves short when we've decided that, oh, well, I'm going to be these three things. I am right. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the people that follow you or are a fan of your work or whatever it is, because if they like, let's say you're a painter, if they like your painting, they probably want to know what you cook for dinner.
Absolutely.
You know, they may want to know more about what you think of certain current events, because if they like a way how you bring out art, they may also enjoy how you look at current events.
That's true.
So this idea of just being
putting people in a box,
it's very dangerous.
It's dangerous, and it's boring.
Yeah,
putting people in a box, and you know, with the same thing that you're talking about being in a business. Any person with any sense of how they should do it, you know, if I don't know something, I'm going to hire you, or I'm going to hire Sheba, because you guys know something that I don't know. Right. You're going to bring something to the table that no one else can bring to the table. So you would think that most businesses would do something like that to make sure that they have someone there that covers every spot.
How is that business going to know that you have certain things in your bio unless you say, hey, you know what? I love to write for fashion magazines, but I also sing. I also run, you know, Her Castle Girls is a media company. We also have a shop. Like, there's nothing wrong with being multifaceted, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of gray.
Especially these days, everyone is doing more than two things.
And you have to. And you have to. And, you know, going back to what you're saying in terms of people being confused about, you know, the direction Biden's taking, your cabinet should be representative of the people that you serve.
Amen.
Last time a multicultural country.
That's their claim. Right. So why would you be confused about the fact that this is the direction you're going in, right? And it's you know what I think is so interesting is that it is so acceptable for people to be in a place that is so homogeneous, right? I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and again, we've said this, and I keep saying this over and over again. Toronto is the most diverse city in the entire world.
Definitely.
Not America, like the globe, the world. And in talking to my girlfriend, it was just this morning, and you know, we're talking about her sister. I was asking how her sister is doing, and her sister was hired in a position, and she was the first Black person in that company.
The first Black person in the entire company.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, like
in 2021.
In 2021. That reminds me of FedEx. They've hired a Black woman to finally be their CEO. First time ever in 2021.
Well, it's this idea where there are lots of companies that have no Black people in leadership roles. There are no managers that are even multi-race or, you know, indigenous or a BIPOC in general. They don't even have managers or team leads as BIPOC, which is like,
especially when it's in Toronto.
Like, in Toronto?
Toronto?
You mean there was no graduates coming out of these schools that were BIPOC that needed a job?
Not one?
Hello?
Tap that mic.
Hello, girl. Human resources?
Crickets.
Human resources.
A little louder for the people in the back.
You know, and so what's interesting for me is this idea for Kamala Harris, because she comes from an HBCU. For people who don't know, it's a historically Black college.
Howard.
Right? Yeah. She went to Howard, and the Howard marching band was there at inauguration, doing their thing. I can't even do it. Breaking it down. And I think back to this idea where people want to pick from the same pool because it's being said that HBCs don't get good graduates. And so now you're looking at the highest office in the land, a woman who's second in command coming from a historically Black college.
Yeah, girl, my head hurts when you just said that. my head is hard.
I've heard these things. We
Yeah.
we know that there have been things where they go, well, we have to go to the Yales and the Howards and the Browns and the MITs and so forth because we need this pool of people, and that's where they go. And it's like Spelman, Morehouse, Howard, you know, all of these different places have people too. And we look at the election and what happened in the US. Stacey Abrams, HBC. Kamala Harris, HBC. Keisha Bottoms, who they now have in the HBC. The women who are running, what happened again, because you know, they needed Black women's vote because the white women still weren't voting for them, right? So I'm sorry. That's why we are going to be in positions of power, because without the Black women turnout and the Black women who made sure Black women turned out, we would have another 4 years. And I say we as in the world collectively, because Trump impacted the world. That wasn't just the United States of America. Had he been able to control the coronavirus, we would not be here. The world itself would not be here, because America has 1/3 of the cases.
Yeah.
A third.
And I want people to understand, actually, before I even say that, I just want to say thank you, Radio Region, for having Not Your Typical Girl Talk as your programming. We're so excited to be here weekly to chat with all of you. So thank you to Radio Region. Thank you to the team there. Love you guys, and all the best to y'all. These two are dancing, and I'm looking at them like, listen.
Because you're giving props to our bosses.
I know, but the way how y'all were, but you know what I was gonna say, and now my brain's like just all over the place. But what I was going to say is that, you know, with Donald Trump, if he, you know, like you were saying to Sheba, if he had controlled COVID-19 and everyone was like, yeah, he's the savior, which some people still think he is. I mean, there are people on Instagram saying, Donald Trump, help us.
I don't know how.
I don't know how, but
I'm not sure
yeah.
how.
But even, you know, with that, we all have to understand that America, with having all of those cases, America is one of the richest countries in the world. And the fact that they're the richest country in the world and they can't control COVID, but then you go to a place like Australia where they're having maybe like 5-10 cases.
New Zealand, they had no cases at all.
New Zealand has none. New Zealand has kicked COVID in the butty, and
mind you, they had to like
some ocean.
They're not taking any like planes or land. Like, no one's coming in or out of the country.
Right.
But
they've done something that this rich country can't do. And the same countries that the former president called shitholes. You know, it's like, dude, they're not shithole countries right now.
America is the
shithole country.
You can't even keep the things together.
So we have a situation here where it's just like, you know, now we have Biden and Harris in this, and there's a lot to deal with, because yes, I do think that as qualified as Kamala is, there are a lot of people that are going to be sitting there like, well, you better prove yourself now, girl.
Well, the most interesting part, like everyone's been saying, is when they had to bring these things to the House and the Senate. Although the, you know, Democrat is all over the presidency, the Senate, and the House, we know that there are still your little fellow Republicans that could give one butty lip who's in charge of what. They're going to be the ones to say, no, I don't like that idea. I vote against.
And they're just voting against purely out of spite.
That's it. Nothing else but just a spite. So they know that there's going to be an uphill battle. The Republicans are not going to make this easy.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It is, and this is why that was our message in terms of like right now, Joe Biden literally has one job, which is to try to unite the country, and by uniting the country, fixing the problems that his predecessor created, right? And the issue is, even with him now in office, it doesn't mean that people haven't pledged their allegiance to the former president. There's some in the Republican Party who feel like the party will not survive without Donald Trump, and this is why they're against impeachment and voting for him never to run again, because they feel as if they need him to further their own career. And this is a problem for me, because your job, the last I checked, when you're in public office, is for the people, the benefit of most, not you, and yourself ain't most.
Right.
It's the people, it's your constituents, as they like to call it, my constituents, right? Exactly. And therefore, you've seen that the man who you're hitching your cart to isn't best for most. And therefore, you pledging your allegiance to him, even once he's left office, should scream to those who are going to vote for you, your constituents, that you are not for them, baby boo. Like, you ain't for them.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's very interesting because these people are supposed to be educated.
The key word, supposed to be.
You know, you look at someone like Ted Cruz, who,
I
know. I'm sorry. I apologize.
She was like, you know what, please.
I apologize for that visual. However, Ted Cruz used to be, and I never even liked him, but I will say that he used to be, you know, one of those Republicans that's out there, and people know him, they know of him, they know what he's done, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as he knocked heads with, and this also goes for Giuliani's legacy was going to be very different if he had never knocked heads with Donald. He was the hero of New York up to meeting Donald, or at least working with him.
Yep.
And this is what I'm saying. The idea that these educated, and I'm saying that with quotations in the air, educated men fell into this like weird hypnotic spell to believe that Donald Trump is the only way how their careers are going to survive. I'm like, your career has been surviving for like 20 plus years now.
Okay.
You didn't need Donald back then, and you certainly don't need him now, especially after all the foolishness that is now on the table for him.
And for you to pledge allegiance to him after he's gone, to the detriment of the nation. Because that infighting doesn't help anybody. The infighting of the, should we approve a 1 point whatever trillion dollar, how many trillions of dollars? People are hungry. Children are out of school. And because they're out of school, some of them don't have lunches. Right? Their health is in peril. They're being abused at home. There are so many little things but they're concerned about, what does this mean for my reputation? What does this mean for me? And it's, you know, my boyfriend and I talk about all this me world that some people live in. It's like a me thing. Well, if I don't attach myself to this person, it means that I won't benefit. But the reality is, for you to benefit, other people are disadvantaged.
That's it.
Right. Because
it's like a marriage, you know. It's you know, you can't just be all you. You're married to your husband or your wife, and it's all you. You can't. There's no give and take.
Right. Exactly. And like, the greed is showing. Man. Because as one senator, I think,
well, is it Holloway or whatever?
No, I don't care. But one of them said, "Wow, $2,000. We don't want people out here living in luxury."
Oh, wasn't that Mitt or the now minority or the House minority?
And I said to myself,
I'm sorry.
Like,
hold on. Je ne comprends pas. And for those who don't speak French, I do not understand. I just need to take a moment. Did he say $2,000 in 2021?
Yeah, we don't. Yes, we don't want anyone living in luxury.
Let that sit for a minute.
$2,000.
Let it breathe.
And I want everyone to think about the bills they paid this week. I want people to think about the bills they're going to be paying next week or in the next 10 or so days at the end of the month.
Especially, like, you know, when healthcare isn't free.
Okay. I want you to think of that.
Like,
think of how many children you have. Think of your rent or mortgage.
Yep.
Think of your family members that are not working right now. You know, think of all of that, and then think about $2,000. $2,000 isn't even enough to pay rent in Toronto.
Girl, that's some places you can't even pay mortgage with $2,000.
If your rent is under $1,800 a month,
God bless you.
Please reach out to some of your friends who are looking for some cheap rent.
Reach out to us. We'd love to know where you live.
Yeah, I'd love to know where you live.
I want to know where you live. I want to congratulate your landlord.
I'd love to know where you live.
Because you got it made. $2,000 is luxury.
And this is the problem.
21? Like, maybe he's just confused. you. He's old.
1821.
$2,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah. And this is why it's important to have cabinets, houses, senates, whatever, that are inclusive, because white rich men don't know what it's like to be a single mom living in New York.
Okay.
Working a part-time job. They don't know what it's like to be a family that's depending on their mom's housekeeping money to pay the bills and pay for medical fees.
It's heartbreaking.
They don't know what it's like to be a young man who came from the military and doesn't know how he's going to pay for his PTSD medication.
Okay.
That part.
They don't know what this means because they've never lived in a world that is like a normal life. So this is why it's good to, first of all, have different people, different backgrounds.
That's it.
In the mix. But also, this is why we don't need a me person right now.
No, we need a, listen, I'm here to serve you. That's one of the parts that I liked in Joe Biden's speech. He said, listen, I'm not just the president for the Democrats, I'm the president for, we work for you. That's how it's supposed to be.
Your
anyway.
Paycheck.
You take an oath, you put your hand on the Bible, you take an oath, the Senate has to do it out. So even idioto Ted Cruz, you take an oath claiming that you're here for the people.
I forgot that.
So if you're here for the people, then why the hell are you chasing down your girlfriend Trump? What's that supposed to do? Like, why are you chasing him down? If y'all don't watch us, if y'all don't watch us live, you need to. Then Chiba will put you in
I'm done.
I do, and I want to remind all these people, because I don't know, maybe they need to bring me into the, Capitol Hill, bring me into the Congress Hall, and let me talk to all these people. I'd be like, y'all know that Donald Trump bleeds when you cut him, right?
He's not.
Y'all know that he takes a dump when he needs to poo, right?
He's a human being.
Y'all know he's gonna die one day, right?
And I question too.
He is not God. He is not divine.
Do they remember what true Trump was before he ran into politics?
Girl.
He was a nobody. He was a washed-up reality show star.
He was a washed-up
because
reality
his show, I guess, I'm assuming his show got canceled. The Money, Money, Money show, whatever that was. So he was just literally walking around like an idiot with no brain. He just walked in. The only reason why he ran was because he hated Obama. That's the only reason.
He had to apply to bankruptcy more than 7 times, everybody. This is a successful businessman.
Why are you hanging on this
successful? Successful. What are we doing? What are we
Listen, what Malaria Trump needs to do is divorce his bati and write a book. Malaria Trump needs to divorce his bati. And in case you don't know what bati means, it's a Jamaican term for butt. Listen, divorce his bati and go write a book.
I also want to mention, okay, so I hate to say it, but I did watch enough of Donald's exit to see his foolishness speech at the base, at the air base, before he jumped on his free flight to Florida.
Free flight.
Which, that's a whole thing, y'all. He didn't want to pay for his trip back to Florida, so he forced them to make sure that Air Force One picked him up at a specific time so it wouldn't run in the same line with the inauguration. Listen, this man, he is cheap. He's a cheap rat, rich man. But what was funny is Melania was wearing a black suit.
Like she was going to a funeral.
Right. Like she was going in the morning. And then by the time they got to Florida and she came off, she was wearing a hideous printed muumuu.
It was like, if I'm over this was a person. If I'm over this was a person, Melania was it that day. She walked out very like,
right?
Yeah.
She looked like, she
was like, oh.
Where's the man?
This was I've never seen her wear such bright colors.
She wore the brightest thing she could find.
It was the brightest muumuu.
She probably ran down those
It doesn't even fit her persona because, she usually wears things to suit her slender build. This was a big old muumuu. Like, she was like, I'm retired. I'm a retired 85-year-old lady going to Florida. That's what she looked, and I died of laughing, and I just wanted to bring that up because I just couldn't.
Girl, I'm glad.
I saw literally a meme that was like, if I am over this is a person, then it was Melania Trump when she got off that plane, because she was like, I'm good, y'all. And she's like, it's 12:01 straight.
Girl,
magic trick.
And I also want to say too, Bernie Sanders, we love you and we're thinking of you as you are now the star of everything.
The mitts and the shoe, and he cut his 10. Like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
And I love Bernie Sanders, right? He's so real because everyone is wearing a dress code, a wool coat, looking their bomb. He comes in this big old puffer coat, like with a bunch of files, like he was going somewhere. He was like, let me just stop up at the inauguration before.
He didn't remember where he was going. He's like, okay, I got 10 minutes to spare. Right. Stay here, hopefully. Hurry up. And then hurry up with this thing so I can get back to work.
And the poor man sitting there by himself looking like, he was like, I'm done. He was like, I'm done with this already. Why are they
tell you? I'm glad you're talking about this because I'm dying. The best memes I've seen so far is Bernie being part of Wu-Tang Clan. Have you seen the Wu-Tang Clan one? You see like Redman, Method Man, and all them, and you see like Bernie with this big part of Wu-Tang Clan. And then the other one I died for because we got to talk about this for 30 seconds. This
takeaway.
Ashanti versus this week that had Bernie was sitting there waiting.
Waiting too. Where's Keisha?
Bernie's listen. So those two memes this week had me out. Bernie's
girl, I was weak.
It was such good content.
I love it.
I love it. It's been cheering a lot of people up, I think. So
2021 is off to a great start.
And God bless Bernie. I know as being an old man like that, he's just like, what is so funny? I'm sure he's like, I don't understand why this is funny.
Then he was there to the interview with him, and he was like, honestly, I was just waiting for the inauguration to start. I didn't mean to look angry. I was happy. He's like, well, dude, you didn't look like.
He truly just fitted the stereotype of an angry Jewish man waiting for a haircut at the barbershop. Yeah. Like, that is how he looks.
Like your grumpy old grandpa who's just like, don't talk to me, to be alive.
Honestly, that will go on for a while because honestly, people, if you do not know what we're talking about, just look up Bernie Sanders like mittens memes and you will see like he's doing it for the culture right now because he's part of Wu-Tang. That was the best thing I saw.
Even they took a scene from Ghost with Demi Moore and he had the mitts and he was like massaging her body. I'm done with this.
Like, no, time out. That creeped me out.
He was sitting at the table with Whoopi Goldberg in the color purple.
That creeped me out.
He's appearing everywhere. He's on the cover, like with Wu-Tang Clan. He's on the cover of all the hip hop albums now.
J. Cole's
on J. Cole's album, sitting on the car.
Sitting on the rooftop.
One with him sitting down with Monica's shoes on. Monica has those.
Guys,
listen, if you're listening to us on Radio Region, thank you so much because honestly, you have to look up Bernie Sanders inauguration or mitten memes because it's the best thing ever. We had to listen, it's been a heavy week, it's been a heavy year. Even though it's 2021, it's already been a heavy year. We wanted to make sure that we gave you some love, and we're going to go out as usual with our quick. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Radio Region. Thank us later. Ladies, have an amazing week. Same time, same place.
Yes. See y'all next week.
Bye.